Good morning, friends. I'm Desert, in case you're new here. Welcome to my channel. Anyway, today we are going to be doing a spiral cut ham. Expensive luxury? I think not. Not if you use every little bit of it. Okay, now this video is overdue. If you've been around for a while, you know that I left my camera in the car and it overheated in our Sinaloa heat. And I lost all of my data on it, including all of the video that I was going to use for this video. This video is actually, we made a spiral cut ham for Easter. And I was going to show you how to efficiently use all of the ham. And I lost all of the video from that. Well, I just recently found, cleaning out my phone, some photographs from then, but they're all verticals, so that works great. I can narrate on one side and the photograph can go over here. So I'm going to resuscitate this story so that I can take you along on my using the things that are left from this project that I did Easter. So the first photograph here is what the bone looks like after we had eaten off of it for 4 days. We had eggs and ham, we had ham steaks, we had, honey glazed ham, all kinds of stuff. So that's what was left. Now the second photograph is after I took the majority of the meat off of the bone and I put it into small Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer to use for future meals. And this is kind of what prompted me to continue to do this video today, because I am making some ham and beans out of 2 of those packets of meat out of the freezer. So when I found these photographs, I'm like, oh, I can do this. So that's what the bone looks like after the meat has been, most of the meat has been removed from it. And I boiled down the bone, and I scraped out the collagen from the inside of the bone. And the next photograph shows the water greatly boiled down, and what the bone looked like then. The next photograph shows the bones on a tray. Now, I did not waste even the bones. We have a dog next door. It's not ours, it's my neighbor's, but they don't live there. And that poor little dog is just there by itself all the time. And I think we are its only friends. So occasionally we give it scraps of this or that or the other thing, and we gave it the bones. So when I finished taking the ham off this bone, I ended up with 7 3/4 pound packages of ham that I could put in the freezer for future meals. This photo shows 4 of those packages, and I put 3 in another bag. Now, 2 of these packages I used with 3 pounds of split peas and spices and onion and stuff, which the recipe will be down below, to make up 3 1-gallon bags of split pea soup and ham. And we ate out of it like we always do, first, before I put away what was left. So I will end up giving you a total of the number of meals that we ate fresh and the number of meals that went into the freezer and approximate value of them and what I paid for the ham and everything in the wrap up at the end. Okay. Sorry, this is kind of choppy. Reconstructing it just from photographs. That is kind of difficult. Anyway, this first photograph is the ham bone after I removed the meat off of it in the water to boil for soup. The second photograph is it after it's boiled. You can see the water level had gone down quite a bit. The third photograph are the bones themselves. Now, I went ahead and I removed the marrow from inside the bones because there's a lot of collagen in there, and that's really, really good for your health. So I dug all that marrow out of there. And the fourth photograph is what the soup water looks like without the bone. All right. The next photograph is the ham bones again, and it's basically just to show you the garlic puck. I have another video where I show how to process garlic in bulk, and I really enjoy doing that. I like making 6 months to a year of garlic pucks at a time, and I use one of the smaller, I think it's 2 tablespoons. Could be 1 tablespoon. I'll have to check that. I'll get back to you. I used to use them in my bakery as cookie dough scoops. So I process the garlic all at once, and I do it in the food processor. I really find that for saving utilities, saving my effort and time, and I can't buy garlic in bulk here unless I go to a specific place that's almost 2 hours away. Not worth it for me since I go to the States every 3 months anyway, and I can get it in bulk when I'm in Nogales, Arizona, very conveniently. So I buy 4 big bags at a time, and I process all the garlic at once, and I put it in my food processor, and then I scoop out these little pucks onto a jelly roll pan with some parchment paper on it, and I flash freeze it all, and then I put them in Ziploc bags, freezer Ziploc bags, and then anytime that I need garlic, I just take out a garlic puck and I add it to whatever I'm doing. So this is just showing that, and there's a little butt of an onion there. The next photograph shows the onion and the garlic in the soup water. And the last photograph in this little series shows after I added more water to it, and I boiled 3 pounds of split peas. Now, I didn't have enough room to really spice these peas, and I needed to add more water for them to soften more. So I transferred them into the larger pot that you saw a little while back and added the meat to it before I put it in the bags. So next we'll get on to my ham and beans. Okay, so another pantry meal made out of ham that we have in the freezer, beans, and canned goods. I'm going to be using this leaf spinach, 2 of these cans of stewed tomatoes, some ground mustard, and some ground cumin. Alrighty, I boiled my beans for 3 minutes, and they have already swelled up a lot. This pan was only half full with beans, and you can see, even though there is some room, they have swelled up considerably. So I boiled them for 3 minutes. My spoon rest disappeared, so I'm using a small pan. At any rate, I boiled them for 3 minutes, and now I am going to cover them and let them sit for an hour, and we'll be back. Okay, so my beans sat in the hot water for an hour, and I have drained them in this colander and rinsed them well. So whenever I'm cooking a pot of beans, I always add some bell peppers from the garden, my salsa. Every week I make fresh pico de gallo salsa, and at the end of the week, if I haven't eaten it all, I put it in a small container to freeze it to use for seasonings in soups, stews, beans, whatever, and my pre-made chopped onions. I try to do all of my peppers and onions in advance and have them in the freezer at all times so that it's easier for me when I'm trying to put things together. So we switch to the next larger pot, and we're going to include those things in there and get some water in there and get them boiling. Okay, so I added about 3/4 of a cup of pico de gallo salsa. I added almost 2 cups of the chopped up peppers and about 1.5 cups of frozen onion. Okay, so I added 2 quarts of water, and I'm going to add this quart of beef broth to cook our veggies in. Okay, so all of our frozen stuff has thawed and it's all stirred in well. So I'm going to cook these beans for about an hour, hour and a half, and see what the flavor's like. And when I add the ham, that will make it a lot saltier. And adding the salsa and the peppers and the onions, of course, added a lot of flavor. But I'll be adding garlic powder and cumin and probably some dry mustard. I like dry mustard in my beans. So we'll be back for that. All right, these beans are finally soft. I cannot believe how long it took them to cook. Yep, just tried one, bit it in half. Yeah, I can't put that back in there. We can put these back in. But I have cooked these for about 8 hours, at least 7.5. And I'm just astonished by how long they took to get soft. At any rate, never include your tomato products early on in your bean cooking because it will inhibit the softening of the beans. But now that they're soft, you can add the things I showed you before. And the 2 packages of stewed tomatoes and the can of spinach. And we're going to stir that in. And my ham from the spiral cut ham is still, I put 2 packages in the fridge to thaw. So we'll put them in at the last minute. And then we'll taste it after the ham has given some of its salts into the beans. God, that looks good, huh? Now that it's got those other colors in there. Oh, yummy. All right. Very good. See you in a bit. All right, so this has been cooking for about 20 minutes, I reckon, to let the flavors meld a bit, you know. And I'm gonna put in my ham. Now, these are the 2 packages of ham. They're 1 pound each of little ham pieces that I got off of that spiral cut ham. And they're quite salty. So I wanted to put the ham in and let it cook for a while with the beans before I add the spices so that I know how much salt is going to be imparted into the mixture naturally. Okay, so there's my ham on the top. You can see it's quite a bit. And let's stir it in. That looks really yummy. This would be so good with maybe I'll make some cornbread. A piece of cornbread with this would be outrageous. All right, I'm gonna let this cook for 20 to 30 minutes to let some of the salt come out of this ham meat. And then I'll taste it and decide what spices we need to add to it. I usually like to add dry mustard in with my dry beans, and I definitely like to add cumin. So we'll see. Well, that looks incredibly good. Wow. Awesome. The light keeps changing because we're in the middle of a storm and we keep losing power. So, yeah, I'm gonna have some of that in a little bit. Gonna give it a taste test right now. This is a little insert because during editing, I discovered there was something that I didn't film. So, After tasting it, I added 2 tablespoons of cumin and 2 teaspoons of dry mustard, and I had not filmed that. So there's that. Now we'll get back to the rest of the spicing. Okay, well, I tasted it, and beautiful though it is, it wasn't quite spicy enough. So I put in this little 225 grams of salsa chili verde in there and stirred it up. And I put another tablespoon of beef bouillon in there. And I'm heating it up for dinner. Beans and ham were absolutely delicious. I've eaten it twice and my son's eaten it once. And I'm going to package the rest of it up into Ziploc bags for the freezer so that I have freezer meals for additional days. And you know me, I like to cook in bulk so that I don't have to do it very often. Okay, now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bags of 2 cups each of the ham and beans. And that was so good. And we had 3 meals out of it before I started bagging it. So, and that's a dozen meals out of that one pot of ham and beans. That's pretty good. All right, there's all of them frozen, rock solid. I put 5 of them very flat and 2 of them kind of bulky, and I did not mark these bags. So I'm gonna put them all inside the same silicone bag and mark the silicone bag so I don't lose track of what they are, because they were good and I don't want to get mixed up and confused. And next to them are some of my seeds. As you can see, if you recall, I said that I was going to keep my seeds in the freezer because it will extend their use for years. And there's some of my pre-prepped onions like I've talked about. And there's the heart brownie upside down that I made for the wedding. So I've got that left over afterwards. Those are our stuffed peppers. And that's pumpkin puree from our plants. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I told you we made 7 packages of the ham. And when I made the packages, I made them in 3/4 pound batches because I was picturing making individual meals that would be for my son and I at the same time, you know, just to feed 2 people once. But I never cook like that. So I ended up using 2 packages together every time. At any rate, so out of the 7, I've used 2 packages for the ham and beans. I used 2 packages for the split pea soup. Excuse me. And I've used 2 packages to make deviled ham. You know, the little cans of that very fatty but delicious spreadable luncheon meat that has the little red devil on it. Yeah. I wanted to replace that on my own without all the additives and knowing exactly what was in it. So I made my own deviled ham, and the recipe for that will be down below. Okay, new day. Let's get to some of the savings, all right? Let's figure out the value of some of these things that we have, all right? Well, I looked up cans of bean and ham hearty soups. And they are $5.99 a can by Campbell's, all right? Now, I put those soups in 2-cup packages, and that's a little bit more than what's in a can of soup, but we'll add this all up in a bit, all right? And deviled ham, I looked up, and a can of deviled ham, 120 grams or 4.25 ounces, is $2.34 a can, all right? And a can of split pea soup and ham, I looked up, is $6.50 a can. Now, I thought that was high until I noticed that it's on sale. The normal price is $13 a can for some split pea soup with ham. Wow. So let's look at the deviled ham, right? They were 120 grams a can. So I figured out I used 1.5 pounds of ham and added various spices and stuff to it, you know. But it came out when I finished to just almost 1 3/4 pounds, which is 794 grams. So I divided the 794 by 120, and we came out to 6.6 cans of deviled ham product. And when I multiplied that by the price of the cans, which was $2.34 a can, we came out with $15.45 worth of deviled ham product. Now, I think the split pea soup with ham is what startled me the most price-wise. $13 a can for that is just absolutely crazy. And that was at Walmart. And it was not anything fancy. That just shocked me. So anyway, now I made those. 2 cups is approximately a serving, all right? But I put them in gallon bags. So I figured out how much split pea soup was in there. Now you've got 4 cups to a quart and 4 cups to a gallon. And there were 3 gallons. Now that equals 48 cups or 24 servings. When I figured that out, it was $156 at the sale price. At the regular price of $13 a can, $12. By the way, say hello to Chavella. That's who was behind me. Okay. My notes for this particular part of this particular segment. When I originally bought the ham, it was 11 pounds. The average is 9.8 pounds, but I search for the biggest ones because, you know, I want to do things in bulk. So it cost me $27.28 to buy the ham, okay? Now, in the fresh meals, in other words, what I ate off of each thing as I made it before I put things away for them to freeze or whatever, we ate 8 times, 3 dinners and 1 breakfast off of the ham when I first prepared it. Easter dinner with, you know, the ham and the sweet potatoes and the whole 9 yards, okay? And that was for 3 people. And ham and eggs the following morning for 3 people, so that was 6. And Bill and I each had another dinner out of the ham also, so that made an 8 servings of the ham when I cooked it fresh, before I took all the meat off of it and started freezing. When I froze it, I got those 7 3/4 pound packages of ham off of it, okay? Now, in fresh meals, we also had 6 meals out of the split pea soup when I made it before I froze it. We had 3 meals of the ham and beans before I froze them. That's a total of 17 fresh meals, okay? Then what I made out of what was left, the 7 packages, I set up 24 meals of split pea soup, 9 meals of ham and beans, and 12 deviled ham sandwiches, which is 45 meals prepped ahead of time. And I still have a package left of the ham. Okay, are you ready for the total value of all the food that I set up? Not counting what we ate fresh when I made each of the things. Just what I put in my freezer and set up for future meals, okay? The deviled ham for 6.6 cans worth is a value of $15.45. The ham and beans with the 9 packages of meals, 2 cups each, set in the freezer, is a value of $53.91. The split pea soup, this is the one that got me the most. Like I said before, I can't believe how much they're charging for a can of split pea soup with ham in it. It's crazy. $156 worth of split pea soup. That is $225.36 worth of setup food, and I still have 1 package of meat left that I haven't used. And that's not counting what we ate fresh. When I made the ham and beans, when I made the split pea soup, when I made the ham originally. Now, I did not eat any of the deviled ham right away, so I included it all in the thing. But that's amazing. Now, to start with, the ham was $2.48 a pound, okay? When you figure out the fresh meals that we got out of it and the saved meals that we got out of it, I got a total of 62 meals. That's considering a sandwich a meal. It's a lunch, okay, but 62 meals for 44 cents per serving of ham. Now, there were other ingredients added like onions and garlic and spices and, the split peas and the 3 bags of kidney beans. But those are all very, very inexpensive things. And at most, each serving was about 50 cents a piece. Not bad. All right, you guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. Welcome back if you're coming back, and welcome to my family if you're new. And I hope that you're having a blessed day. Please do give a comment or a like or subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And I answer all of my comments. I read them all personally. And I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you very, very much. I really hope that you have a blessed day. Toodles.